It's actually on my last day on the job, so if I make it through today, which odds are I will. It's not like that dangerous of a job. What's somebody gonna fucking shoot me in the head or something?
The illusion of choice is when a game gives you this idea that makes you feel like you're getting to make a decision for yourself. Sometimes a game will go full linear like Shadow Warrior and you'll just bust in and out from level to level doing the gameplay elements. Or sometimes a game will be like Fallout and it'll give you 4 multiple choice options that all do the exact same thing. However a game does this, the illusion of choice is usually there in some capacity, and it's a subject to talk about that could probably be filled in its own video. One game that won't make that video though is Hitman 3. I almost didn't grab the case, and that would have been really weird. Hitman 3 is what can be considered a sandbox game. That's where a game just gives you a bunch of tools, puts you in this open sandbox type of map, and just tells you to go at it. I love open world games like Skyrim and Grand Theft Auto, not because of the storyline, even though that's good, but because I can just run around and do whatever I want. These are my favorite types of games, which is why I'm kind of disappointed in myself that I didn't play the Hitman series earlier, because this is pretty much what it's all been about, with some exceptions.
I cannot believe the launch of these concession stands.
But most notably, and in most recent years, Hitman is all about this sandbox type of gameplay. But the main reason I never touched the Hitman series is because the naming of the games got a little confusing for me, and I was like, oh, where do I start? Which one is the best game to play? I don't know what I'm gonna do. So for all of you kids at home there that want to play the Hitman series, but you're not really sure where to start, I'm gonna break it down for you a little bit.
Hey, Hollywood!
You have the classic Hitman series, which was titled like Hitman 1, 2, and up. Included with those more classic Hitman titles, you have Hitman Blood Money, but then you have Hitman Absolution, where the game was taking this action-based approach to the gameplay. A lot of people didn't like that, so for a while, we didn't hear much about Hitman. They were going through a lot at that time. But then, in 2016, they were coming out with Hitman. Like a reboot type of deal. This was slated to be the Hitman game, the Hitman game that the fans wanted and gave them everything that they could ask for. And then it was episodic, and that was a whole thing. You guys remember the Telltale series where it was like episode 1, 2, 3, season 1, 2, 3. I think there was like The Walking Dead, they did that type of deal. A lot of people loved this format, but a lot of people like me couldn't be fucked to play it. And this is what they were trying to do with the Hitman series. The thing you have to understand about Hitman is it gives you a level, and it gives you multiple options to approach that level however you want. There's a lot of detail crammed into these levels, so the idea behind it was that you could get into this, explore it, play the hell out of it, and then they would release a new one for you to go and try out. The problem is there's a lot of caveats with that. There's a lot of questions that come up, and there's a lot of people like me who just want to buy the full game straight up. Turns out most of their fan base wanted to buy the full game straight up. Eventually it did come out as a full game, but they learned from that marketing disaster and released Hitman 2, the sequel to this one, as a full game. Then they did that with Hitman 3, which is the game we're talking about. So, quick recap. Sorry, history lesson's almost over, but we had to cover this because it's going to be important later in the video. You have this pile of games over here, which is your classic Hitman series. Then you got this Hitman series. This is Hitman 2016. Hitman 2, and Hitman 3. The modern Hitman series, where it's basically been the best it's ever been, where I just let it fall off of my radar and decided to pick up on it with the Hitman 3. With this being such a sandbox idea-based game, there's not a whole lot going on with the story here. You see, Agent 47 is an idea, is just like this blank slate character, dead-faced, no emotion, but there is story elements. His partner Diana is like the secret agent operative, his partner in crime type of deal, is the person kind of guiding him through the motions most of the time. He works for this secret agency who takes on these contracts for their clients, but Agent 40 himself has no memory of his past, and part of the game is him kind of recovering a little bit of that, but for the most part it's just, let's go in here and take this guy out, then we're gonna go in here and take this other guy out. You're a killing machine. There's some story in there for those that want it, and it's beautifully presented. However, that's not the main selling point of the game for me, and I'm sure it won't be for a lot of other people. So just in case you want to know, if you want to jump into the Hitman series from 2016 to present Hitman 3, it's not gonna really hurt you if you don't know too much about what's going on in the story.
They also do some recapping for those who care.
Again, talking about all three of these games is going to come up a little bit later, but I just wanted to preface this whole situation with that.
You got the bastard.
The really cool thing about Hitman 3 right off of the bat and all of the Hitman games is that you never know where the hell you're going to be. This takes place in locations all across the world. You're going to be in one country doing this, next you'll be in this country doing that. There's a lot of variety in the level design, there's a lot of verticality, there's a lot going on. This game takes the Yakuza approach to its level design as to where it doesn't give you this gigantic sprawling map like Grand Theft Auto does. It gives you this smaller map, this more self-contained map, but inside of that map, there's a lot going on, there's a lot of detail and a lot to explore. The beautiful thing about these Hitman levels that I don't know if I've experienced in any other game is that each level is going to be replayed multiple times. You're not going to see everything there is to see in one playthrough. Your objective is usually take out these targets, or take out this target and then discover this other target. You're going to pick up on little side stories as you're going through the level that you can do. There's going to be challenges. You got to do things in certain ways. Maybe it's knock every guard out with a banana. I don't know. I don't know if that's really a thing. I just made that up as an example. But as you're going through the level, you'll constantly explore new locations within that level. And as you explore these new locations and do these challenges, you're going to unlock new starting points. So when you complete a level in one way, you're going to have a new starting point where you load back into that level in a new spot with a whole new set of dialogue that you probably didn't notice the first playthrough. And you could do this 4, 5, 6 plus times in a level, and it's always going to be fresh, which is why they took this episodic approach to the gameplay. Replayability is a big deal in this game, and it really shows that they put a huge focus on this. But obviously, for that amount of replayability, they had to put a lot of focus in the gameplay, which it's so good. It's so good, man.
Yo, Mr. Come on, serious?
If you're watching gameplay of Hitman, it does not do it justice. You're gonna see the gameplay of like the guy locking on while they're throwing an object to somebody, and you're like, well, that kind of looks like it would get boring. It doesn't get boring. This never gets old.
What the fuck, man?
Hey, Hollywood!
Why do you not
So naturally, there's going to be a lot of things in the environment at your disposal to use as a weapon to incapacitate somebody, like maybe it's an object sitting on a desk, but also you get things like wrenches, hammers, screwdrivers. You'll need these to trigger certain events in the game if you want to take somebody out a certain way by like causing a short circuit or popping a fuse out of a wall or breaking open a door with a crowbar. But all of these weapons that can be used as melee weapons also double as throwables.
check the Carlisle legacy? What bollocks?
It's so funny. They really went the extra mile with this thing. So there's this mission where you kind of gotta build this cocaine souvenir to take it to a guy. This is just like a regular object that you're putting together in a side mission with some glue and stuff, right? But then you can take that object and you can fucking throw it at somebody. You just chuck that bad boy at him and it explodes and like this cocaine powder goes all over the air, and it's like there was no reason to be able to do this, but they did it anyways. There was no fucking feasible reason you would want to take this side mission object and fucking yeet it at somebody because it would ruin the side mission, but they just did it because it'd be funny. Dude, I love this stuff.
What the hell is this?
I love when games are like, oh, there's no reason you should have to do this, but we're gonna let you do it anyways. You'll notice a big part of the gameplay is the disguise system. So no matter what area you're sneaking in, there's going to be different levels to this shit. You might have certain guards in one area, or you'll have more elite guards in one area. Or you may just be going through a kitchen and there may be cooks. There might be a delivery boy going to a building, or there might be a highly ranked official that's going to have a meeting with a guy. And this is where when you're walking through the level and you're discovering new things, just just organically, you might pick up on a conversation. You might eavesdrop on them and realize, oh, this guy is going to go and have a meeting with one of the people I'm targeted to kill. So you might be able to follow him around, wait for your opportunity, knock him out, take his disguise, and you can have that meeting yourself.
I'm here for my meeting with Dick.
Ah, I love Dick. Hey, before you go into that meeting, have you seen this giant pile of dead bodies?
Nope, that definitely wasn't me. I wouldn't do that if I was wearing clothes like this that I definitely put on this morning and not like 5 minutes ago.
That's odd, because I didn't ask if it was you, but since now I know that it's not, I'm gonna turn around and look at this fucking wall real quick. Oh wow.
I like that the game doesn't take itself too seriously, not only in its gameplay, but in its dialogue too. Whenever you disguise yourself as one of those people, the game is always kind of throwing these little subtle hints that you're the assassin. It's pretty good.
I thought your hippie types were only to the softer drugs. I'm surprised to see you working with them. Peace and love isn't really my thing.
This disguise system works in a few different ways. You know, if you're discovered under that disguise, it's going to pretty much compromise you for the rest of the level. But of course, people are going to spot you that are going to recognize you. So if there's like a leading official person for that, if you got like a lead cook for the kitchen or something, you'll see a white dot above their head, and those people will be able to discover you if you're in that disguise. But if you kind of keep it on the down low, you kind of walk your way past them, you might be able to get away from that situation. So the game never really punishes you for how you want to play, but there are obvious consequences and gameplay elements to that disguise.
This is going really well. Good thing nobody's trying to shoot me in the fucking head right now, because I'm doing pretty good at this race. I mean, if they were trying to shoot me in the fucking head, you know, you'd think you would have gotten me by now, because I'm 2-3 laps into this race. Oh shit. Alright, sorry, just had to whip. That Hitman guy? Oh my god, he could kill the fucking shit out of me. Good thing he's not here, actively trying to kill me.
Both targets down. Well done, 47.
It makes it to where you're always wanting to try new things, but you're never getting too comfortable with one thing. Obviously, you don't want to be able to just throw on a disguise and not ever be caught, but you don't also want to be caught by every single person you look at, which I think was a problem in the old games. And you're an assassin, so obviously there's a lot of tools at your disposal. You got obviously your silence pistol, you got whatever you can use in your environment, which we've talked about. There's also some good gunplay. So if you wanted to go into a situation guns blazing, you can. You can snipe your enemies from a distance. That's an option because obviously you're an assassin, makes sense. You can also make traps with remote explosives and other things like that, and you'll unlock these new gameplay elements as you progress. So there's always new ways you can kind of play with the levels. Like I mentioned before, your main gameplay objective is to assassinate people. These people are given a schedule, they're given multiple things to do in this level, so you can catch them at different times and execute them in different ways. And while you can always take the approach of just walking up to them and which the game gives you the freedom to do, it also rewards you for taking the slow and methodical approach if you're that type of person. If you want to go in completely silent, you don't want to hurt anybody else, you just want to focus on getting those targets and getting out of there undetected. The game has these different set pieces that can go off, but you're kind of going to have to put together the pieces of the puzzle. You'll have to listen in on conversation, get the right disguise, have the right tool to trigger this objective. But if you do all of these things correctly and you pick up on them organically, you feel really good about it, and you're also rewarded with a cool ending.
Oh look, my drink. Just refresh. Oh. What was that? Must be the wind. My drink. Hope nobody fucking poisoned it. oh fuck! Good shit! I'm good fucking shit! Oh fucking shit against my fucking pants!
I really like that the gameplay never punishes you for how you want to play it, and this also kind of, at least for me, incentivized me to want to also play it in different ways. Play it again. See how else I could have done it. Wait, it was that easy? It was really that easy? Well, what else can I do?
Oh my god.
If it's too easy, there's different difficulty levels. If you just want to mess around and you really don't want to be punished for it, you can play on the casual difficulty. I usually just stuck to the standard, but there's also a difficulty level above that. I didn't play that one though. I don't know how hard that is. On top of the regular story game, there's also different challenges they'll often update you with that you can play. There's this elusive target thing where they give you a certain person to eliminate and you can only try to do this once. It's a pretty cool concept.
They have made multiple attempts to get rid of her, but she is always one step ahead.
There's also contracts where the community can play in a map, they can select their own target, and then they can set boundaries to how you have to execute them, and then they can just let the reins off and let the player explore that. So on the surface, the gameplay is really simple, but you get a lot to play with, and the gameplay is just really good. Everything feels good to do. It feels good to throw objects at enemies. It feels good to get that clean assassination. And my camera battery died. That's cool. Something else that's really good about this game that's criminally underrated is the VR mode.
What completely irresponsible person would leave a weapon lying around?
The reason for this is because at the time of recording this, it's only on PlayStation VR, which comes with its own set of problems. First off, the game looks like they smeared Vaseline all over it. PlayStation VR tech was really limited at the time of its release, but now it's really showing its age with a game like this. They had to significantly tone down the graphics. There's plenty of times where I still feel really immersed in this game.
It's so immersive in VR. Like, it's like I'm actually here, you know? Oh fuck, I'm in some trouble over here. Oh, it's so good. It feels like I'm actually fucking dying.
But that was obviously taken back by the visuals in this. Second off is the controls, because typically with the PlayStation VR motion controls, you have to use the move controllers, you have to sacrifice on movement. They didn't seem to want to do this, so you have to play with a controller. There's still some motion control to it because you can use the controller for that, but it's not ideal, and the tracking is just really not good. I found it nearly impossible to aim with any weapons because the weapons would just float away from me.
Oh my god.
There would be so many times I would need to look down quick and grab a disguise, but it wouldn't wouldn't give me the option to because the game didn't think I was looking in that direction or something.
No, there's only me here to cover it. I would love it if...
Or I would need to quickly grab and hide a body, and I couldn't get the command to grab a body because, again, the camera just thought I was in a different spot. I'm not gonna lie, this caused for some pretty frustrating gameplay moments, but looking back on the footage, I can't be mad at watching any of this because it was hilarious. Because when Hitman in VR works, it works really good. You can get immersed in being inside of that world, looking around at the beautiful objects and whatnot. But then it's just also amplified by Hitman's good gameplay that's still baked into the game because you can play the entire game in VR exactly as it is. And then you get the added benefit of being in VR. You got this punch mechanic where you can just one punch man everybody in the game. And just like throwing stuff at people in the main part of the game, this just never gets old. It's one of those VR staples that's just hilarious.
Hey, you wearing my clothes, mister?
What? Yeah, that's not gonna work.
Move it.
Can't people out like that. You'll pay for this. Not good at all. Hey, you, did you...
Sorry, I just had to pause these guys real quick to let you know that if you're enjoying this video here and you want to get some more of it when it's over, there's good news because you can. By becoming a member, you'll get access to deleted scenes and bloopers that didn't make the final cut of this video. Alright, see ya. When I was going into this, I was thinking, man, PlayStation VR is not going to be fun. This is just going to be a gimmicky, tacked on whatever, but... dude, it changes the game and it makes it really fun. There's some elements to it that's just like you can only kind of experience in VR, and it's just hilarious. I don't think I've ever laughed so hard at watching back my gameplay than I did at Hitman 3 VR. And the good news is that it's actually coming to PC VR, and I cannot wait for that. If they do it right, it's going to be so good. You're going to hear so many people talking about it. I'm going to do my own video on PC VR when it comes out, so stick around for that. That's going to be really cool. But with all of this good, there has to be some bad. It's got to come crashing back down. We've been riding a high because obviously I really love this game. This is probably one of my favorite games now. But there are some problems. Okay, so first off, the AI can be really, really dumb. I mean, obviously you put them in a big sandbox like this, they have to do all these calculations and stuff at once. Sometimes you can just cheese the AI, especially in VR. I'll change costumes right around the corner from somebody or right in front of them and they won't notice. They can do things like shoot through glass trying to kill you because they don't recognize that it's just like a blank wall instead of walking around the wall to get to you. I'm sure you've all seen the gameplay clips of just knocking out a million people walking into the same room. But with all of the stuff that's going on in a level like this, I can forgive them a little bit on the AI. We're not talking about a linear game here where they have complete and total control over every situation. I mean, like I said, you can just tackle this however you want, so they kind of had to compensate for that.
Is there a shorter line for the restroom around here? I'm gonna go ask the flamingo if there's somewhere else I can take a piss.
The best way to deal with skeletons is with a big weapon. Screw magic. Hit them and watch their bones fly.
Have you heard the rumors that Sierra Knox is falling behind the Chinese competitors?
Is there anywhere in Tamriel that you can avoid these damn rats? See spreading little nuisances?
There is another really cool point to this game, and that's that you can play Hitman 2016 to Hitman 3 all in the same instance. When this game was coming out, they were building this engine. This is a new engine, and you're able to run all of the games as if you were playing one game. You can buy an access pass to Hitman 1 and 2, and you can play all of the Hitman levels in one sequence. This gives you a ton of content, and it also makes it really easy for new people to jump into the series. I mean, think of all of the game franchises and all of the series where you're like, oh, I don't know which one I should pick up first. Which one should I play? Which one has the best levels? Imagine if Call of Duty just gave you all of the maps and all of the guns. That's what it's like being able to play from Hitman 2016 to Hitman 3 in 2021. They even have a tab that shows you all of the locations in one go. But obviously, there's a reason I waited till now to talk about it, because it's really confusing and hard to get into for a couple of reasons. One, if you're like me and you just picked up Hitman 3 and you see that there's all these locations on the main menu, you're like, wait, I can't play these locations? I have to buy more? Like, I just bought the game, and now you're asking me to buy more stuff. But then it makes more sense when you realize it's all 3 games. So it's like, okay, well now I kind of understand. But then it makes even less sense when there is so much damn DLC. This was really confusing for me to understand sometimes. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna buy the Hitman 2 Access Pass because I wanna play the Hitman 2 levels. And then there were Hitman 2 levels that were locked off from the Access Pass I paid for because I didn't buy the Access Pass Gold Edition. If I wanted that, I had to spend more money to unlock those extra DLC levels for Hitman 2. That doesn't have anything to do with Hitman 1. If you want all the levels for Hitman 1, aka Hitman 2016, you gotta buy the Hitman 1 Gold Edition Access Pass. If you originally owned the first 2 games, from what I understand, I think that they smoothed out the integration process where you don't have to buy them again. That's good. But for a newcomer, this was extremely confusing, not to mention very expensive, because you know older games go on sale all the time, but with the digital marketplace, sometimes it's on sale. Sometimes stuff's like $60. Like, they've had a big sale going on with the Hitman franchise on PlayStation. You could get some of these access passes and stuff pretty cheap. So like, I bought the Hitman 2 access pass on my PS4 for like $20, but then on the PC, the Hitman 2 access pass is like $60. But then the Hitman 1 access pass on PC is like $20. So the pricing's all over the damn place. So if you want to play every single Hitman level for every single Hitman game up to this point from 2016, You can do that, which is great, but it's also very confusing and very expensive, which is really bad. Like, if you're buying this game for the first time, you're gonna be spending a lot of money to get into all of it, which I'm really conflicted about, because on one hand, there's a lot of content. Like, there's an absurd amount of content. They put a lot of work into this. I don't believe that IO Interactive is currently under a publisher, so they get that profit, they get that revenue, and that helps them make new content for the game. They do keep it updated. They're working on year 2 for Hitman, which is gonna provide more DLC and PC VR support. Of course, that's gonna be DLC that you have to pay for. I don't think you're gonna have to pay for PC VR support, but my point is, I feel like they should make the pricing system a little easier to understand, or at least just bundle all of the levels into one buyout. Like, let me buy all of the levels for every single Hitman at once. That's all I want. I don't care about the costumes and this content and that content. I want to play every single level from every single Hitman game up to 2016 to 2021, and let me just buy all of that in one package, so I can play it from start to finish. And then they have like weird side mission DLC for this, which is like a couple of bucks, which a lot of people thought should have been included with the game. It's almost like the DLC for Sleeping Dogs. It's kind of that weird, obscure stuff. Like, I'm a little conflicted, because if you know me and you know my channel, generally I hate microtransactions with a passion. I feel like they ruin games, but I like the Hitman series so much that it's hard for me to hate them making a little bit more money on the content, because I understand it's a lot of content. What I'm not going to forgive them for is this always online mode.
Yeah, it's actually on my last day on the job, so, you know, if I make it through today, which, you know, odds are I will, you know, it's not like that dangerous of a job. What's somebody gonna fucking shoot me in the head or something? Oh man.
Oh, this again? You gotta be kidding me.
Hey, you mind if I call you back real quick?
Come on, reconnect.
Hey, you know, like, my entire existence is getting shot, right?
We're having this server connection.
Oh, we're having this shit. Dude, all I'm programmed to do is talk about how it's my last day and then get my fucking brains blown all over that wall, alright?
Dude, we can't do this offline.
We can't do it.
I'm not gonna have any progression. Oh, fuck it.
Again, like I've said in previous videos for other games, I hate being forced to have an online connection, especially for a single player game. You don't have co-op on this, you don't have multiplayer on this. You don't play with any other people. All of your progression, all of the leaderboard stuff, I don't care about the leaderboard stuff, but all of your actual progression in-game is tied to an internet connection. You can technically play the levels offline. You can't get challenges offline. You unlock new starting locations, you know those things I was talking about that like make it feel like you're playing a new level every time you play the game? You gotta have an online connection for that. Fucking why? Oh, I'm getting passionate. I kinda got a little loud there. Seriously, IO Interactive, they've been doing this since Hitman 2016. You've always had to have an online connection for all of these games, and I do not understand it. Like, I remember back when there was Need for Speed 2016, this is completely separate from this video. It was forced to have an online connection. I never played it or bought it because I didn't see why the fuck I had to be forced to connect to the internet to play a single player game. Because they want to have some kind of DRM or something? Gran Turismo 7, it's a fucking single player game and you're going to be forced to have an online connection for it. I don't understand why these games are doing this, and that all comes back to Hitman 3. I almost never touched this game again. Like, if I had realized that this was forcing you to have an online connection for all of its progress, I may not have even bought this. I'm glad I did buy it. It's a fucking awesome game, but guys, put in an offline patch or something. I like to play games from 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago. I like to go back on older games and play them. How are we going to go back and play this? Because you see, the contracts mode is tied to the internet where players kind of create content and share it with other people. I understand that being online. But when IO Interactive inevitably doesn't support this Hitman series anymore, unless they're going to support it for like the next 100 years, how are people going to go back and experience this like I did? How are people going to enjoy this game like I did? When your progress and everything else and all of your integration content, like playing from Hitman 1 to Hitman 3, is all tied to this internet connection. And that's not even to mention all of the problems that come with just having this feature in general. Like in present day 2021, I'm playing the game, I'm in the middle of a tense moment, I'm having a good time, and then all of a sudden it disconnects me from the servers and asks me to fucking retry it. That completely breaks the immersion, guys. What the fuck? Like, no, it's not world ending, it doesn't ruin the game, but it's like, This didn't need to happen. I don't care about being online. I'm playing a single player game. There were so many times I just had the Hitman servers thing pop up and tell me I was offline. Okay, I don't care. Let me play the game. Thanks. I understand that it's necessary for the content that's constantly updating, right? I understand it's necessary for the multiplayer elements, or maybe the time challenges where you have one shot to eliminate these people, whatever. But to tie something like starting locations, a fundamental gameplay element, to being on an online connection, that is so fucking frustrating to me. All right, man. Thanks, bye. Well, time to go to work, to my real job. I hope that in the future, IO Interactive at least offers some kind of an online patch to remedy this situation, although I don't think they will if they've been doing it since 2016. Although that also just makes the physical copies completely pointless if they do that, because it ruins it because it's tied to an online connection. To fix that, they'd have to add new physical copies of the game, kind of like Cyberpunk. If they updated the game, it makes all the version 1.0 disc releases pointless. I'm going on a tangent. I love the Hitman franchise now, man. It's probably one of the best games I've ever played. It's now probably one of the best series that I've ever played. I really enjoy the sandbox gameplay. I can't wait to see what they do with the DLC, and I cannot wait to sink my teeth into the PC VR. It comes with some caveats, but I really enjoy it. I think that everybody over at IO Interactive is very passionate about what they do. They went through a lot of hell between the development of Hitman 2016 and Hitman 3, which kind of possibly explains a lot of the DLC and stuff. There's a really great no-clip documentary on IO Interactive, and just the development hell they were going through when developing these games. So it really puts a lot of meaning behind it. I recommend, if you guys are enjoying this video or the Hitman series in general, to go watch that. It's extremely good and criminally underrated in my opinion. Big shout out to my channel members. You guys are a huge motivator. Really appreciate the support. If you guys would like that exclusive icon, go join my members tab. I'm going to be dropping some behind the scenes footage to our skits and a super cut of the gameplay moments in Hitman. It's going to be really great. It's a way for you to support your boy for a couple bucks, get yourself some exclusive content, and if you're still here, you must have enjoyed the content. Go check out my other stuff. You won't regret it. That's about all I got for the plugs. Hopefully I'll see you guys again. It's been T. Oh, that battery almost died. Oh shit! No! You may be dressing up as a high. I'm gonna ask the flamingo if there's a shorter line for me to go take a piss.
What was that?
Even the gunplay, something that isn't typically. Where do you think they got the idea for the flamingo outfit?
Damn kids stole me sweet rolls the other day. Swear to Christ if I didn't care about their mother.
The cars are just going so fast on that track, it can't be safe.
Like I'd